Hi all, good evening. Is my screen visible to everyone? All right. So in our last class, what we have discussed is we have gone through the process of setting up our workflow rule, and then we have basically tested it and we have seen how it basically behaves. And post that, I've given a scenario where I want to basically divide my cases or prioritize my cases depending on the type of my case. All right, depending on my type of my case, we wanted to prioritize that. What was the scenario that I have asked you people to explore is, if my case type is equal to electrical slash electronic, if my case type is equal to electrical or electronic, I want to set the priority to high. In case case type is equal to mechanical or structural, then I want to put it as medium. If none of the above options are there, that is nothing but others, right? If my case type is equal to others, that is where I want to put my priority field value to low. All right, so that is the requirement that I've asked you two people to explore. Now I would pause here to understand how many have tried option, how many people have tried this option, and help me understand how many workflow rules do we need to basically get this requirement done. So how many people have tried this option? All right. So people who are pinging me that number, can you just help me understand how you are planning to set that up? In case if you are sending a number which is above 1, why do you think that we need those many workflow rules is what my next question would be. In case if you don't agree with I have to have more than one workflow rule, you just need to let me know why do you think that there is an extra workflow rules that I need as a part of this exercise. All right. So if I go back to the answer to the question that I've asked is basically relies on your workflow rule. All right. The answer to the question that I've asked is basically in your workflow rule itself. If I go to my workflow rule, all right, if you have gone through the workflow rule once, you should be able to easily identify how many workflow rules that I need. All right. Now, so where can I configure my option here? Where can I configure the condition that I have? The condition, or else let me do one thing. Let me just pick up the previous workflow rule that we have set up. All right, this is the workflow rule that I have set up. Where is the rule condition that I have set up in the system? For the earlier example, we have used the case type is equal to electrical as a condition to basically segregate the cases that have been created or updated. All right. What I'm saying now is I'm just extending this point, saying that now I want case type is equal to electrical and electronic should be considered as a section where I need to update the field priority to high. All right, field priority. Now, if I need to understand where to write the condition, I need to click on this edit of this workflow rule. And here is the place you can configure that. Here is the place where you can configure your condition. So what was my condition? If my case type is equal to electrical or electronic, that is where I need a priority value to be set to high. That is where I want the case priority value to be set to high. Alright. Since I have the case type is equal to electrical, all I need to do is, for the first requirement where I need to set the priority value to high, I just need to update this workflow rule in a way that it also applies for my electronic scenario as well. Alright. So I'll basically do it. But in this condition, what I'll say in this condition which says add filter logic, I'll say, do I need 1 and 2, or it should be electrical or electronic? So the condition is either if it is electrical or electronic, then I want to update my priority field to high. So that is why I'll be updating my filter logic to 1 or 2 to basically get the first requirement done, which is nothing but if my case type is equal to electrical or electronic. Now what it says, if my case type is equal to electrical or electronic, that is where I'm updating the field priority to high and also sending an email alert. Alright. So this is how you can update the conditions in your workflow. Now what about the other scenarios? You can basically create one more workflow rule to basically set the structural and mechanical ones. And the last but not the least, you will set it as others. If the case type is equal to others, that is where you'll update the priority value to low. So if I understand how many workflow rules that are being needed, I need 3 as per my scenario. I need 3 workflow rules as per my scenario, because I can merge the first 2. I can merge the electronic and electrical into one, where I can use this condition to update the field type to high. And the second scenario is if the case type is equal to structural or mechanical, that is where I'll update it to medium. And the third workflow rule, I'll basically tell the system that if the case type is equal to others, that is where I'll be updating it to priority as low. Alright. So the maximum number of workflow rules that you need as a part of our discussion is the minimum number of, I would repeat, the minimum number of workflow rules that we need to achieve that requirement is 3. Alright. The maximum can be 5, 1 for each scenario. But in order to, if you think from the optimization perspective, making the best usage of your workflow rules, minimum number of workflow rules that are required is 3 as a part of our discussion. As a part of our scenario, 3 is the minimum number that we need. Alright. So that is about your workflow rule. Now, that is your implementation using your workflow. Alright. Now, let's say if you have a requirement where upon performing this activity, upon updating your field type to priority equal to high, I want to do a next set of checking. I want to check for other fields and update something in the system. Right? So what is happening here is, as soon as your condition is met, your workflow rule is basically executing your immediate actions or the time independent actions depending on your need. Alright, it would basically stop there. What if you want to continue that process on checking the other conditions? Once this workflow rule is processed, you want to check some other things and see if it is actually matching your criteria or not, and then execute certain actions in the system. Alright. So using your workflow rule, can you connect 2 different workflow rules one after the other? Can you tell the system that after executing this workflow rule with name update priority if type is equal to electrical, after this workflow rule, if I want other workflow rule to be executed just after this one, that option is not there in Salesforce. Alright. That option is not there in your Salesforce. You cannot decide on which workflow rule will be executed, which workflow rule will be executed if they are on the same object. If you see, there are like number of workflow rules that are on the case object, but you cannot decide which workflow rule will be executed first and which one will be executed the last. You cannot define the sequence of your execution of your workflow rule. I would repeat, you cannot decide on the sequence of execution of your workflow rules. Once they are on the object, Salesforce decides which one will execute first, and there is no kind of a hard and fast rule to decide this is the workflow rule that will be executed by the system. Alright, and That is one drawback of your workflow rule. And the second one is, in order to achieve the requirement which is on the same type, which is on the same type field, and we need to update the priority. In our earlier example, I have different types on my case. I have different type pick list values on the case. Depending on the case type, I wanted to update the priority value accordingly. In order to achieve that requirement, I had to use 3 workflow rules, and if a developer has to debug that issue, in case if he or she wants to make some changes, he has to open 3 workflow rules to see what exactly is happening. Right? So in order to keep a check for all this disadvantages that we have a next topic, which is nothing but your process builder. All right. So what is the advantages of your process builder is, it basically gives you a process builder is a point and click tool that lets you easily automate, right, the same thing that we have seen in our workflow rules. What it will try to automate, it will try to automate the business process, and the advantage that this process builder gives us is it basically gives the graphical representation of your process that you built. All right. If you ask me the key difference or the visual difference between a workflow rule and a process builder is, process builder basically gives you the graphical representation of your entire process. All right. I'll quickly show you what exactly I mean by that. But rest all, it is basically the same thing. Same things can be done from your process builders that can be done from your workflow rules. Alright, there are like certain things extra that your process builder can do. Most of the times, the things that can be done from your workflow rules can also be done with your process builder. Alright, having said that, I'll quickly show you how to set up your process builder, and we'll discuss how exactly it is providing the graphical representation of the process that you are building. Alright, now what I'll do, I'll quickly click on the setup. I'll quickly click on setup, and once that is on the setup home page, I'll search for process builder. You will find this process builder just below your workflow rules. Alright, if you ask me to repeat that process, it is under build, create, workflow rules and approvals. That is where you will have your process builders. Alright, that is where you will have your process builder. Alright, so in case if you want to basically open any existing process builder, you can quickly open and see what exactly we have in that process builder. Since your requirement is to basically create a new process builder, that is where I'm clicking on this new button, where it will help me create a new process builder for me. Alright, so as soon as I click on that new button, there is a pop-up screen that comes up. Alright, so what I'll be doing here, the system is expecting me to give a name to this process builder. Alright, I'm just giving a name as update priority based on case type. August demo is what I'll write. I'll put it as August. Alright, I'll put it as August, and as soon as I fill out this process name, I'll get a API name once I click on that field. Alright, this API name will basically check for unique names. Same story that we have learned so far. Alright, description. In case if you are not able to add all the things that you wanted to highlight as a part of this process builder name, if you are not able to add all the information that you wanted to add as a part of this process builder, you can always use your description to increase the understanding, or to basically provide some understanding to the other developers who are looking at this process builder. Alright, so I'll basically reuse the description or the process name that we have used in our process builder process name field. Alright, I'm just copying the same value in the description. Alright, now here is the place where you need to decide what would be the triggering point for your process builder. Alright, what exactly it says? It says the process starts when. The system is asking me, when do you want me to start the process? System is asking me, when do I need to start the process? And it is giving me 3 options here. The first one is nothing but on a record change. In case if there is any change on your record, if you want your process builder to fire, that is where you'll select your record change. In case that means if there is any change on your field value, if there is any change on your record which holds the fields, if there is any change on that fields, if you want your process builder to execute, that is where you'll select the first option. Alright, the second option is something to do with your integration or the platform events. Alright, in case if you want to basically listen to any platform events that are coming to your system, that is where you'll select the second option. What is the third option? In case if you have a sub process where you want to invoke that as a part of this process builder, that is where you'll select the third option, which is a subset of your process builder. If your process is too large, that is where you'll break them down into small chunks and select the third option, which will be used by the other process builder to call this process. All right, those are all the options that we have as a part of your process that starts. Those are all the options that we have where the system is asking me to select one thing so that it understands when it needs to start. All right. So what I'm trying to do as a part of this process builder is we are trying to replicate the scenario that we have discussed in our workflow rules, but this time we'll understand, do I need to have 3 workflow rules or can it be done by using one process builder? And later point of time, once we complete that activity of configuring the requirement that we have discussed in our yesterday's class, where electrical or electronic should be updated as priority is equal to high, and mechanical and structural should be updated as medium priority, and last but not the least, others should be updated as priority low. Right? We'll configure that and then we'll understand what are the extra features that we get as a part of our process builder. All right? Then we'll understand what are the extra features that we get as a part of our process builder. All right? So since our requirement is mostly on the record change, since our requirement is around the record change of a case, that is where I'm telling the system that the process that starts is a record change. Right? I'm selecting the record change because I want this process builder to start whenever a record is being changed. Right? So once you're done with that process, click on save. Once you're done with that process, click on save, and that is where you'll be seeing a screen like this. All right. If you take a step back and understand, if you take a step back and visualize this one, you'll get to know, you might have seen this kind of a structure before itself. All right. During our education, or if you are from a CSE background, or if you are from an engineering background, by now you might have guessed it right. This structure is nothing but your flow chart. All right. In your flow chart, what is the advantage of your flow chart? Flow chart basically gives you an idea on a whole. It basically gives you the process structure or a process flow. Right. The name suggests it is a flow chart, which will basically gives us the flow. Alright, what I mean by that flow is, you'll get to know once you start from the starting point of that flow chart, once you go down that lane, you'll get to know what exactly the system is processing. Alright, in case if you are familiar with this flow chart, you will be using this flow chart to basically design your entire project. If you are trying to build a project, if you want to basically design it, alright, you'll not directly start with the coding, or you'll not start building it immediately. You'll basically put that in a flow chart, then understand what are the loopholes in it, fix your flow chart, then convert into a pseudocode, then basically put it into your code. That is what the flow that usually people will do. Alright, that is the recommended flow, I would say. Alright, so this is nothing but the flow chart that we have learned in our childhood days or in our school days. Alright. Now how this structure is basically helping us configure the things is what we'll see. Alright, how this flowchart is basically helping us configure is what we are going to see. But few things that we need to notice is, when I've created that process builder, I've not told the system on which object I want to basically do this process. I've not told the system on which records to basically execute. I have not told the system it needs to pick up. All right, so that is where your first stop you to define on which object records or which all object records do I need to look at. All right, for the record change, do I need to look at all the records or do I need to look at the specific records? That is what the system is asking. So that is where you will tell the system that I don't want to look at all the records, but I want to look at only the specific object records. And that configuration can be done once you click on this add object or add object kind of a box where you see a section towards your right which says choose object and specify when you want to start the process. It is asking us to choose the object and it is asking us to specify when we want to start this process. All right, so what is that object that I wanted to focus on? I wanted to focus on the object which is nothing but case. Why I want to basically focus on case is because my action, my triggering point is on my case. Whenever the case type is equal to electrical or electronic, that is where I want my system to fire. Whenever there is a change in the type of the case, that is where I want my system to fire. That is why I'm selecting the case here. All right. Now, as a kind of a suggestion or a kind of a warning, what Salesforce is doing is it is telling me that there is an already existing process builder on the same object with name case work order from create work order from case. It is saying that there is a process builder already existing on this object with name case create work order from cases. All right. In case if you think that the process builder can be reused, what you can do is you can basically go back to the process builder and start configuring things there. All right, you can always reuse the existing process builder that we have on that object. Since it's a kind of a process where I'm letting you know how to create a process builder, I'll ignore this warning. I'll ignore this warning that is being shown by the Salesforce. All right, now if I scroll down, if I just pass this validation rule, if I just pass this warning message, what I have this section which says start the process. I have this section called start the process. What I have here, it is basically asking me, or it is basically letting the system know that when I want this process builder to fire. Just like in our example of our workflow rule, right? Just like in our example of our workflow rule, we have told the system that yes, I want to run this process or I want this workflow rule to run whenever a record is been created, or it has a second option which says created and every time it's edited. All right, so that is your second option here. All right, if you want this process builder to run both on your creation as well as edit, that is where you will select the second option. If you want this process to run only at the time of creation of a record, that is where you will select the first option. That is where you will select the first option. All right, since I want this process builder to run on both the scenarios, both create and edit, that is why I'm selecting the second option and I'm clicking on save. As soon as I click on save, this button color will change to blue, indicating that we have properly configured this section. Now what is happening is we have told the system that yes, you need to look at the record changes. What record changes that you need to look at? You need to look at the case object record changes is what we have told the system. All right. The next thing that we have is deciding the rule criteria. All right. So it is similar to what we have done in our workflow rule. So what I'll do is I'll quickly bring up the workflow rule that we have configured earlier so that I can relate these two things and you will be able to understand it a little better. All right. So I'm picking up the workflow rule that we have created earlier. I'll click on continue and I'll pull up the workflow rule that we have set up. All right. So what we have done, this evaluation criteria is what we have set up in this box. Either created or edited is what we have set up in this box. This evaluation criteria has basically gone into this section. Now, what about this rule criteria that we need to define? This rule criteria is basically in this decision box. Right? This rule criteria is This rule criteria that we have in the workflow rule should basically set in your decision box in a flow chart. Alright, how to configure this one? If you just click on this section, if you click on this diamond box or a decision box, that is where you will have an option to basically configure it. Alright, so here what you have to write, so as soon as I click on that one, it says define a criteria for this action group. It is asking me to define what is that criteria that the system needs to consider to execute the immediate actions that are being configured next. Alright, it is asking me to give the system a criteria so that it can understand what all records should go into this immediate action section. Alright, so what I'll say here is I'll basically give a name to this criteria in a way that any developer who looks into this one should be able to understand what exactly this decision box is doing. What I'll say, case type is electrical or electronic. Alright, so I'll give a name in a way that anybody who reads this one should be able to understand what exactly is basically written in your criteria. Alright, now if I scroll down, there is a section that has been there which says criteria for executing your actions. Alright, if you don't want to check anything, if you directly want to execute your immediate actions, all you need to do is select this one. That means as soon as the case records comes in, it would not be evaluated with anything. All the records will basically pass into your immediate actions, and that is where you will tell the system what exactly needs to be done for the cases that have been processed in your immediate actions. Right? So if you don't want to check anything, you will select this no criteria, just execute the actions. In case if you have a conditions that you need to check, just in our case it is basically nothing but the type, whether it is electrical or electronic. That is where you will select the first option. And what is the second option? Second option is nothing but people who are comfortable writing it in a formula way, they can always use the second option. Right? This formula is nothing but the section that we have seen in our validation rules. It is similar to the section that we have seen in a validation rule or in our formula field. Alright, it is the same section. You have the operators, you have the functions that you need, and you have the fields that you can select. Alright, in case if you are not comfortable with this one, you can always go with the first option which says conditions are met, and you can start configuring the conditions that you have. What is the condition that I have? If the case type is equal to electrical, if my case type is equal to electrical, alright, so that is why I'm giving the name here and I'm selecting the case type here. Alright, so if my case type is equal to electrical, if my case type is equals, which is a pick list value, if it value has electrical or electronic, that is where I want the system to execute the immediate action. How to add a new row? Click on this add new row, and that is where you'll see this section. Right? So once you're done with the first condition, if you have only one condition, you can basically go ahead and click on save. If you have multiple conditions, then click on add row. Click on add row and start writing your other conditions. So I have another condition which says if my case type is equal to electrical or electronic, I'll basically put it here. Right? Electrical is done, I'll put it as electronic. So what am I saying? Is it a scenario where I wanted to check case type is equal to electrical and electronic? The answer is no. What I'm saying is I want these actions to be performed when my case type is equal to electrical or electronic. So if you have or condition, that is where you will select the second option in your condition. If the conditions that you have written should be combined by an AND logic, that is where you will select the first option. In case if there are multiple scenarios where you have to say 1 and 2 or 3, alright, if you have those conditions where you have to put in multiple logical operators, that is where you can select the third option and you can start writing 1 and 2 or 3 depending on your requirement. Alright, since my requirement is straightforward, which is something to do with 1 or 2, that is why I'm selecting the second option here. That is where I'm selecting the second option here. Alright, now you might be wondering in our workflow rule understanding of evaluation criteria, we had 3 options. One is on a creation, second one is create and every time it's edited, and third one is subsequently meet the criteria. Alright, which says evaluate the rule when a record has been created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet the criteria. If you are looking for this third option, you can do that in your process builder. In this section which says add criteria, there would be a checkbox which says, do you want to execute these actions when a specified actions are made to this record? It is just like your going from a record going from a non-meeting criteria to a meeting criteria. If you want that kind of a third option in your workflow rule, that is where you have to check this checkbox. And click on save. Alright, so now what has happened is we have basically selected the object, we have given the condition. Now is the time where we need to tell the system that whether it should be an immediate action that needs to be performed or a scheduled action that needs to be performed. So what is the difference between this immediate action and a scheduled action? Same thing that we have learned in our workflow rule, which is nothing but immediate actions are the actions which will be performed immediately, and scheduled actions are nothing but the actions which will be performed with a time lapse. Alright, now. So I want to configure the immediate actions, that is nothing but updating my priority field. So I'll click on this section which says add action. Alright. Now, so as soon as I click on that add action, there is a section that came up towards my right hand side which says select and define an action. Alright. Now, in the drop down, what I have, it is asking me decide what type of action that I wanted to trigger. With the process builder, you can do lot many of things which your workflow rule cannot. Right? So what are those things? Your process builder can call an apex method. Alright. So we'll discuss what is that apex method and all in our development class. For now, what you can remember is if you have a process builder and if you want a apex method to be called out, you can always create an action and select this apex as an option where you can call your apex method. Alright. Now, that is your first option. And what is the second option that we have? The second option is in case if you want to create a new record, if this condition is met, if you want to create a new record, that is where you can select this create a new record option. It basically helps you to create a record whenever this conditions are true. You can always go ahead and create a record in Salesforce. Right? It could be account record, it could be work order record, any record that you can create whenever your conditions are met. That is your second option. What is this email alerts? Email alerts are nothing but the sending an email alert to the other people. Alright. So there are flows. In case if you want to invoke flows in Salesforce, that is where you will select this option. Alright. There are like a couple of examples or couple of actions that you can do. What you can do is you can basically select one option and you can try out here. Right? In case if you want to basically post a charter in Salesforce, that is where you can select this option. Alright. In case if you want to trigger a second process builder, remember when we are discussing the initial phase of our process builder creation, where I've clicked on new button, and that is where Salesforce was asking me when should a process start. Alright, when should a process start, and I've selected a process as on a record change. In case if you have any existing process builder that you have created using the third option which says invoked by another process, that process builder can be used here by selecting this option which says processes. Alright, and in case if you want to do a quick actions like logging a call and all, alright, you can always select this quick action. Alright, so Salesforce is also equipped with Quip. Alright, so Quip is nothing but a kind of an online Excel sheet. In case if you want to update some information in Quip, you can always select this option. Right, and there are like few more things here which are latest options that are given by Salesforce. Feel free to try out that one. Alright, and there is this submit for approval process. Which we are going to see in our Monday's class, which is nothing but a kind of a process where you want to, let's say if you have created a record and you want your manager to basically review it. That is where you will basically create this approval process where the employee would submit that record for your manager, and manager would get a request and he'll basically look at that record that you have created. Depending on his inputs, he'll either approve or reject it. Alright, we'll focus more on this approval process in our Monday's class. Alright. So the idea of this process builder giving an option to submit for approval is your approval process that we are going to set up is a kind of a manual process where the user has to go and click on that submit button. Right? We'll discuss what exactly the submit button and all for time being, just to give you an input. The process of submitting your record to your manager is a manual process. In case if you want to automate that, you can always make use of your process builder. Right? And last but not the least, in case if you want to update any of the existing records, you can always use this option which says update records. Right? Gone through all the options that we have. The actual action item that we need to do is something to do with the update of a record. Why? Because when a case type is equal to electrical or electronic, that is where I want to update the same case record. Right? So that is why I'm selecting the action type as update records. I'll say set the priority value to high is what I'll write, and I'll put August to make sure that we are not breaking anything here. Alright. Now what I have selected, I have told the system I want to update a record. So it is asking me which record do you want to update. Is it the same case record that you want to update, or do you want to update any record that is connected to case record? It is asking me, upon selection of this action type is equal to update records, it is asking me, do you want to update the same case record, or do you want to update any records other than case? So my requirement is to just update the same case record. That is why I will be selecting this first option which says select the case record that started your process. I want to go with the same case that I have started the process with. What is the process that I have started? I have started here where I have selected whether the case type is equal to electrical or electronic. That is where I have taken that case and I am trying to update a record. I am trying to update a field on that case record. Alright. So that is where I am selecting the first option. In case if you want to update any of the objects that are connected to the case, you can go ahead and search for that object and you can select that one. You can always select that one. Alright. So that is not my requirement as of now. So that is where I'll go with the first option. Alright. And I'll click on choose. I'll click on choose here. Alright. Now, so here also we can check some conditions before updating your record. Alright. So if you don't want to check any conditions, you can always say that no criteria, just update the record. In case if you want to check something, you can select the first option. Alright. So what are the checks that I can do? Before updating the priority field directly, what I can say is, I would ask the system if my case priority is not equal to high. Alright. If it is already high, then there is no point of updating that record. Right? Without knowing, like if the case type is already set to high, then there is no point of me doing the same thing again and again, because which basically impacts my performance of the entire application. So that is what I'm saying is, I'm asking the system if my case type is not equal to high, then what I'm asking the system to update the priority to high. I'm asking the system if my case type is not equal to high, then I'm asking the system to update that record. If it is already high, then I'm not asking the system to do anything. Alright, it is just a performance issue that we are doing here. Alright, so if my case priority is not equal to high, that is where I'm asking the system to update it to high. Right? As per my requirement, if my case type is equal to electrical or electronic, that is where if my case priority is not equal to high, then I'm asking the system to set that value to high, and I'm clicking on save. So that is all we have on the process builder. Right? So what happens is, if a case record comes in, it would check if the case type is equal to electrical or electronic. That is where if it is true, it will go here and it will process the immediate actions that we have in this section. Alright, And once that is done, it would check if there are any schedulable actions. If they are not there, it would stop here. Right? What about the other scenarios that we have discussed? What if the case type is equal to structural or mechanical? What if the case type is equal to others? Then what the system will do is it will basically come here, check if my case type is equal to electrical or electronic. In our case, the case that came in is not either electrical nor electronic. That is where this condition has basically given me a value as false. It has given me a value as false. That is where the system would check for other conditions that we have in the system. Right? If the condition is true, it would update, it would basically execute this immediate actions. If the condition is not true, it would check for other conditions that are there in the system. Right? So just to show you the difference, I'll quickly configure this section for electrical and mechanical. Right? So what I'll say, case type this time is, I'm doing it for the other values. I'm doing it little quick because we already have gone through this process. Alright, let me know if you have any questions when I'm configuring this one. Alright, so I'm just doing it for the same thing but for different values. Alright, so if it is a workflow rule, I had to create a new workflow rule to basically configure it. Why I have to do that? Because I can only write one rule condition or one rule criteria for the list of actions that I can do. But in your process builder, what is happening? You can add multiple criteria here, multiple rule criteria here. That is where I was able to add second condition, which is nothing but for the mechanical and structure. Alright, so that is the key difference between your process builder and your workflow. In your process builder, you can add multiple rule criteria, but in your workflow rule, for a one workflow rule, you can add only one rule criteria. Alright. So I'm configuring for mechanical and structural. What is the condition that I want? I want the condition to be OR, and I'll click on save here. I'll click on save here. Alright. In the immediate actions, I want to update that record. It says set the priority value tool to medium. If the case type is equal to structural or mechanical, that is where I want to set the case priority field value to medium. Do I want to directly execute it? No, I don't want to directly execute it. First, I want to check if my priority field value is not equal to medium. That is where I'll run this logic. That is where I'll ask the system to update that priority field. If it is already medium, then I'm not telling the system to do anything. Alright, so this is how you can configure it, and I'll click on save. Alright, now if you see the two things that we have configured, one has this immediate actions and the schedulable actions, and the second one doesn't have the schedulable actions. If you ask me why exactly I don't have the schedulable actions, is because in your workflow rule also, if you go ahead with the second option which says created and every time it is edited, you will not be able to configure your time dependent actions. The reason being that is how Salesforce has designed the workflow rules and the process builders. In case if you are asking the system to do an action on every time a record is being edited, that is where it is saying that I cannot do an schedulable actions that you have in the systems. Any actions that needs a time lapse or any actions that needs to be performed after a certain point of time, it is saying that I cannot do it as a part of second option that is given in your workflow. Right? You can do it whenever a record has been created. You can delay your actions whenever a record has been created, and also in the third option it says created and every time it's edited only when I subsequently meet the criteria. If you are opting for first option and third option, that is where you can define schedulable actions, but if you are going with the second option, you cannot basically schedule any time dependent action in your workflow. Same applies here. Alright. Why you are not able to see this immediate actions here is because while configuring this rule criteria, I have not checked this checkbox which says do you want to execute the actions only when a specified actions are made to a record. It is similar to the third option that we have. Right? If you uncheck this checkbox, what happens is, if you uncheck this checkbox, it basically acts like the second option that we have in the workflow. As we know, if I select the second option, I don't have a capability to do the time dependent actions. So that is why I'm not seeing that schedulable actions in my process builder. So if I check this checkbox and click on save, that is where you will be able to see the schedulable actions. Right? Point to remember is, if you are selecting the second option in your workflow rule which says created and every time it's edited, you will not be able to schedule the, you will not be able to do the time dependent actions in your workflow rules if you don't check the checkbox when you're opting for created and every time, when you are basically expecting your process builder to run in your record creation as well as your update of a record. Right? If you want to delay those actions, that is where you have to check this checkbox, which would ideally act as a third option that we have in your process, third option that we have in your workflows. Right? If you uncheck this checkbox, this actually acts like your second option in your workflow rule. If you check this checkbox, it will actually act like a third option that we have in our workflow. All right. What I mean by third option and second option, I'm talking about this evaluation criteria that we have spent almost an entire day understanding this one. All right. Now we have these both actions ready, and if you want to basically use this process builder, you can always click on this activate button. All right. So we are discussing about one scenario where I want first action to be completed, and post that I want the second action to be completed. Right? What I want as a part of this exercise is, this scenario might not make sense, but I'm talking in general. If I have a scenario 1 or a criteria 1 and I have a criteria 2, what I want is, after completing the criteria 1, I don't want the system to stop. I don't want the system to stop. If my condition is met, if my case type is equal to electrical or electronic, that is where this section box will return true. It would come here, execute this immediate actions. If there are any schedulable actions, it will basically do them, and post that it would stop here. But as a part of my requirement, new requirement, what I want is, I don't want the system to stop here. I want the system to execute the next block that I have. Then what I can do is, I can click on this stop button. I can click on this stop button, and that is where system would ask me, specify what happens after this, after evaluating this criteria. It is asking me, what should I do once I complete the evaluation criteria that I have. All right. So it is asking me, what should I do once I complete this criteria that you have scheduled here or written here. Right? It is asking me, what should I do? Should I stop here, or do I need to evaluate the next scenario? If your requirement is to basically stop the process builder, that is where you will select the stop the process, which is default for everyone. In case if you want the system to evaluate the next criteria that you have, which is nothing but the criteria 2, that is where you will select the second option. If you want the system to stop here once it evaluates the things in the first section, you'll basically use the first option. In case if you want to continue the process of evaluation, you'll select the second option and click on save. Now what will happen is, as soon as your case comes up, if this box is true, it would basically execute these immediate actions, and that is where system is basically telling me that I'll go ahead and execute the next set of actions that I have, next criteria that I have. Alright, and it would continue that process, and it would see if there is a stop button or an execute evaluation criteria. If it finds that execute evaluation criteria, it would go ahead and execute the next criteria that we have defined. Right? If it doesn't find anything, it would stop, or else if it sees a stop button here, that is where also it will stop. Right? So what I'll do here is, I'll activate this one. I'll activate this process builder, and I'll click on confirm. Right? Now my process builder is active. Now we can go ahead and quickly test this functionality. Alright. Now what I'll do, I have activated my process builder. Alright. Now we'll quickly see whether it is actually working or not. Alright. I'll click on cases, create a new case, continue, select a record type and continue, fill out these fields accordingly. I'll put it as let's say I'll put it as low and keep the type as electronic. I'll keep the type as electronic and I'll click on save. If everything goes fine, it should ideally update to high priority. It should ideally update to high priority. What if I change it to mechanical and click on save? Right? It changes to medium. It changes to medium. So how it is happening? Because of the process builder that we have created. It is because of the process builder that we have set up. Right? So the advantages of your process builder are you can basically define the flow of your entire process. You can define how should the actions that needs to be performed on your case can be decided with your process builder. If it is a workflow rule, this has to go in the first workflow rule, the second one has to go in the second workflow rule, and the third criteria has to go in your third workflow rule. And you cannot decide which one will be executed first. With your process builder, you can tell the system that which one needs to be executed first and which one needs to be executed second. That is where your process builder will basically give you that capability of deciding the flow of your entire design that you have on a given object. Right? So that is the advantage of your process builder. Right? There is a discussion that we need to have on understanding what all things that a process builder is capable of and what are the advantages of your workflow rule. That we'll keep it for our Monday's class. Right? So to summarize what we have discussed today, we have gone through the process of setting up a process builder where we have got to know how to set up multiple conditions in the system. How to set up multiple conditions in the system. If it is a workflow rule, we had to create 3 workflow rules as per our discussion. But in this process builder, I was able to achieve everything using just one process builder. Everything was achieved. The conditions that we have discussed was achieved just by using one process builder. Right? Having said that, that is all we have learned in our today's class. Right? We have set up the process builder and we have seen the advantages that we get in the process builder as a concept. Right? Now I'll open up the session for any Q&A that you have. Right? In case if you don't have anything, feel free to take this as an example to set up the process builder with the conditions that we have discussed. The one thing that I have not set up in my process builder is the third condition where I need to set the priority field value to low. That has not been done. Feel free to take that the entire exercise as a homework and feel free to set that up in your OR. Right? Feel free to set that up in your OR. Alright. So that is the homework for you. Alright. And the session is completed. Feel free to ask me if you have any questions. If not, we can call it a day for today. Alright. I don't see any questions as such today. Alright. So as of now, I don't see any questions that are there in my chat box. Alright. In case if you have anything, feel free to ask me. So most of the things that we have done today is a kind of a repetitive topic, but the idea of the process builder is to combine the multiple workflow rules that you have to create for the same requirement and put it in one place where you can get the graphical representation of your entire process. Right? In your workflow rule, you don't have that kind of a graphical view. In your workflow rule, you don't have that graphical view, whereas in your process builders, you will get the graphical representation of your entire process, where you will get to know if this process executes, what would happen. If it is not evaluated, what is the next condition that it would check. If it is a workflow rule, you have to manually open all the workflow rules on that object, then identify which one will be executed depending on the rule criteria that you have. Right? Just by having the process builder, it gives you that advantage of understanding which process will be executed. Right? So I don't see any questions. I'll just wait for another 2 minutes Since it's a repetitive topic, I don't expect any new questions would be there. In case if you have anything, feel free to utilize this 2 minutes that we have. If you don't have anything by the next 2 minutes, we can call it a day for today.